Hashem's V'asaitivtach Uviyagitzalasacha. We're now in the 8th parak of Nechemiah. So, where have we achieved so far? We have the walls, we have the Beis HaMikdash, we have that the environs around the Beis HaMikdash have all been completed, the gates are set, the people are inside, and now we came full circle. We had the same census of the people from the beginning during the time of Ezra, and now there's one left point that is going to be made. What also needs to get transferred and carried over, and that is the Torah. Vayasifu kol ha'am ki'ish echad. Once again, the people gathered. No one told them to gather. They felt emotionally and spiritually inspired. Ki'ish echad, like one person. Ki'ish echad b'lev echad. That's what we had in Matan Torah. El rachov asher lifnei shar hamayim. They stand together by the water gate. Vayamru le'Ezra. Ezra? We haven't heard or seen Ezra in such a long time. He's an old man. He was in retirement, but he's come out. Lahavi et Sefer Torah's Moshe. He's bringing the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu because he was one of the Mesorah bearers. Moshe Rabbeinu, interestingly enough, I did not know this, but Rabbi Rosner mentions that Moshe Rabbeinu was someone who not only gave the Torah over to Yehoshua, but he also gave it to Elazar, his son, and he gave it over to Pinchas. But it was only specific people. Many people received the Mesorah, but only specific people were the Mesorah bearers, that they were the ones who had the specific role to pass it along. And we know that of the generations, Moshe said it to Yeshua, Yeshua said it to Zkenim, and it just kept going. And Ezra was one of the people. It's for La'anshe Knesset Agdola, and he is going to Lahavi as Sefer Torah's Moshe. So Torah's Moshe Asher Tiva Es Yisrael. So he's going to bring the Sefer. So that is there. It's going to be the Torah Shebechtav, which is the Torah's Moshe, and the Torah Shebal Peh. And those two things together are going to be brought. Ve'yavi Ezra HaKohen as Torah's Lifnei HaKahal, and he gives it in front of the Kahal. And this is like Hakel, when every 7 years the Jews would all get together, or for at the end of the Shemitah cycle, or at the end of the Yovel cycle, and they would all get together, and the Torah would be read in a kahal, in a group. Me'ishvat, isha, man, woman, b'chol, mavin, l'shmoa, b'yom echad l'chodesh hashvi'i, on Rosh Hashanah. Everyone, whoever could understand what they hear, everyone comes together on Rosh Hashanah. V'yikrabo lifnei harachov asher lifnei shar hamayim minha haor al machzis hayom. And so from the beginning of the day and through half of the day, everyone stood there and they would listen, Va'oznei kol ha'am el Sefer Torah, and they would listen to the Sefer Torah. Now, when were they davening? When were they doing anything else? So here is just a prime example of first of all, it was Ezra who was mitaking. He created times for tefillah. So they don't even have that or need that right now. But there is this religious epiphany, and it is something that is so beautiful, and it's literally taking half of the day. Vayamod Ezra hasofer al migdal eitz asher asu ladavar, and he's standing on a platform that was made for him. And Vayamod etzlo Taya and Shema, and standing next to him are all of these people. Someone who is not there is Nechemiah. These are just holy people, the leaders, and 10 people together. Why? Because this is another example of why we need a minyan. We need a minyan because Ezra is highlighting that Barov Am Hadras Melech, that it is something that is beautiful, that when you have a minyan, when you have people that are coming together, you're not judged individually, but you're judged as a klal, and Hashem always has mercy on the klal, and He always has mercy on the grouping of people together. He listens to the tefillos even more so than the individual tefillos. Vayiftach Ezra HaSefer le'inei kol ha'am, and he opens up the book in front of all the people's eyes. Ki ma'al kol ha'am haya ki pachtcho amdu kol ha'am, and it is a sight. Now he is higher than all the people as he opened it. This is another example how the chazan should be elevated in when he is reading, and that when the Torah is open or elevated, everyone must rise and everyone must be silent. And it's very interesting because many of the laws have a source in this experience. So when the Torah is open, everyone has to stand. Amdu kol ha'am. When the Torah is being read, everyone has to be quiet. And Vayivarach Ezra es Hashem ha'elokim hagadol. And Ezra gives a bracha to Hashem hagadol. What is that? He's saying the name of Mefurash, the big name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bayanu kol ha'am, amen, amen. And they say a double amen. Why? Because if you think about it, the people were standing and not everybody could hear. So they just said amen to the amen that they heard if you didn't have a VIP seat. Uma'al yadehem, and they raised their hands. This is the source of how Ethiopian Jews actually, they raise their hands in tefillah. There's also mefurash that you are supposed to, when you say poseach as yadecha masbir l'chol chai ratzon, you actually raise up your hands to Hashem. And then when they heard the Shema Mufarash, they all vayishtachu apayim arta, they bowed down to the floor. And then all of these people, now it says Yeshua Ubnei Sharvaya Yamin Akud Shabtai Hodea, all these people. Who is Yeshua? So this is, why isn't it not Yehoshua? Why is it a shorter Yehoshua? And that is because on some level, when Yehoshua came into Eretz Yisrael, he should have been able to do something of this nature, and because he did not, so he didn't do the same level of for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and so his name was kind of shortened to Yehoshua. But all of these people and the Leviim Mevinim es ha'am l'Torah, they were teaching the people the Torah, and the people are at their places and they read from Secher's Torah Elokim, and this is just the most beautiful Mefurash Som Seichal Be'avinu B'Mikra. So they're giving wisdom, they're teaching it, these are the teachers, and they're giving it over. They're giving over the laws, they're giving over the Torah, they're giving over this beautiful epiphany of infusing. You can't have a Beis Hamikdash, you can't have a Yerushalayim without the Torah, and so they're adding that final touch. And then Nechemiah comes into the scene. Vayomer Nechemiah, who Hartashasta. Remember, we said that Nechemiah, who is Hartashasta, and Ezra, they come together with this with the Leviim, Mevinim es ha'am, and all of the people, and it is something. And what happens? They say to the people, today is a holy day. Kodesh hu laHashem Elokechem. It is a holy day, and on a holy day, al titvalu v'al tivku. Stop crying, stop moaning. This is not a day of mourning. Ki bochim kol ha'am b'shma mitzvei Torah, because they were crying. Why were they crying? This is a happy day. Why are they all crying? So first of all, they're crying because they realize, oh my goodness, we haven't been doing right. And we just learned, more about the Torah. They became a religious, had this religious epiphany. They're realizing, oh gosh, we really could have done better. But they're also crying because there's an emotional experience. They've really come to the end of this long, arduous process, and they know that this is not the same as the Bayis Rishon, and they know that this is not exactly how it is, but they got as close as they could. And they came and they dedicated and they were hard working and they actually came to it. And so they're just crying and they're thinking about what they've given up and what they've lost and what Hashem has given them and how this is a miracle. But Hashem says, no, this is not a time to cry. This is a time to be besimcha. Vayomer lehem l'chu ichlu shamanim ushtumam matakim v'shlichu manos. And what do you do during a simcha? You eat, you drink, be in pleasure. You give presents. This is a source. Some people say that you're supposed to give presents on Rosh Hashanah. You can tell your loved ones and go because today is a holy day. Do not grieve because it's happy times. And the Leviim kept the people quiet, and they said, no. Hasu ki hayom kadosh va'al te'atzvu. Don't be upset. This is not a day to look backwards, it's to look forward. It's a day to recognize how far we've come, and where we're going, and not to harp on all of the things that Hashem knows. Hashem knows, it's okay. Hashem is Hashem b'simcha. And ve'alchu kol ha'am, and that's what they did. They ate, they drank, they gave out presents. It kind of reminds us also of the Purim story, Mishalach Manos, Ish l're'eyu, Matanos la'avyonim, and it was a simcha gedola. And then on the next day, because remember, there's a 2-day Rosh Hashanah, on the next day they got together, the Kohanim, Leviim, and Ezra, and they started to teach the Divrei Torah. And what is the Divrei Torah that they're teaching? They're teaching about Sukkot. They taught Besukos B'Chag HaChodesh HaShvi to teach about Sukkot. How better to look into the future than the first Yom Tov that you could do? But it's so fundamental, is that what is Hashem suggesting? Hashem is suggesting, Basukos Teshu Shivas Yamim. Go out of what you think is going to be permanent. Go into something. Take that leap of faith with me. And then look what will happen. He's highlighting bitachon. He's highlighting emunah. That's what's really needed for the people in this level. We need emunah and bitachon. We need to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we can look at things in a temporary way, and Hashem will take care of us in a permanent way. And he teaches them how to gather the wood and go to the mountain, and really all of the take the hadassim, the tamarim, and la'asot sukkah, and these are the different mitzvahs. And from here you also learn that to build a sukkah is also a mitzvah, not just to sit in the sukkah. Ve'asu lahem sukkos ish es God go. That's exactly what they did. They all built the sukkahs, and they asked kol hakal. Now this is the first time that they've built a sukkah again in a very long time. What's going on? Why are they here? Yeshua Ben Nun is mentioned, and here I misspoke. It's not before. It's this Yeshua Ben Nun. Why is it that here his name is also missing without his full letters? And that is because that he did not complete the sukkahs. They didn't have something until this point that was, they had individual sukkahs, but they didn't have a klal sukkah. They didn't have a sukkah on the Temple Mount, but rather they had a limited version of that, and that wasn't good enough, and that was a chisaron. That was something that Yeshua should have done, and until this point they didn't have it. Vati simcha gdola ma'od, and this is a huge simcha. Vayikra sefer Torah ha'elokim yom biyom min hayom rishon ad yom acharon, and that's exactly what they do. They read by the book of Hashem. They, from the first day of Sukkot to the last, they celebrate the 7-day holiday, and then Atzeres on the 8th day. And how telling it is. That it's not just the Geula Shalema that they're having here. How fortunate we are, Baruch Hashem, that this year when the hostages came home, they also came home just in time to celebrate Shmini Atzeres. We have a skula. We've had some difficult times with October 7th, but we also have a big skula that this time is an auspicious time for Simcha Gedola and true Aliyah. And this is something that is very beautiful, and the people are feeling uplifted. Just like this year, we were so uplifted when we heard the news and people came home, and there was this level of simcha that was palpable and in the streets. So too, if you can imagine, the people are finally all together. It's in the streets. They've come finally to the completion of their journey, because it wasn't just that they were able to go up to Eretz Yisrael, and it wasn't just that they were able to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash, and it wasn't just that they were able to populate the environs and protect themselves, but now they've infused the final element, the element of the Torah, the element that brings it all for full circle and makes it worth it. What a very, very special parak to go into, and it is with true simcha. Yes, they have to look back, and they have to. Now, where's Yom Kippur? They don't need a Yom Kippur. No one has to tell them to fast. These are people that know how to fast. These are people that know how to do tshuva. That's not what they need to learn how to do, which is the life of a Jew in Gullus, is to be b'simcha, to know what you've lost, but yet to still be happy, and to still do and serve the Ribono Shel Olam and HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the best way possible. We only have a moment in Mishkachas Yerushalayim when a chassan and a kala get married. Why is that? It is because, yes, we have to remember what we've lost, but look, there's a bayis neman b'Yisrael that's being built. That is b'simcha. That is amazing. And here it highlights that we have to be b'simcha. We have to be happy. We have to acknowledge what we have in the future. And when we are b'simcha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is b'simcha as well.